Hey guys, Steve from Steve's Home Cooking. So, we're going to do a couple things today. We're going to make some bread and soup for dinner. So, we're starting the bread right now. It's about 11 o'clock in the morning because it takes a few hours to raise. As you can see, it's kind of gloomy outside. So, it's going to take a little longer to raise. So, won't get this done until later this afternoon. But this is the ingredients that we need. We need flour, sugar, an empty bowl, obviously, yeast, some more milk, which I'll explain in a minute, and sugar, salt, a spoon, and then I use gloves, which I'll show you in a minute. Okay, then we're going to switch over to, that's my stove. We're going to switch over to a upper shot. So hold on, let's get the other one started. All right, guys. So to start with, we're going to take our yeast. We have warm milk. So the original recipe calls for water, but I have found that putting it in milk is gives the bread a little bit more softness and a little more easy texture. So now I'm going to take the yeast and pour it in. And then mix it up here. So now that'll sit for a few minutes. So now what we'll do is we'll take our flour. It calls for 2.5 cups on the initial part of the recipe, but you'll use way more than 2.5 cups. So I just kind of usually just pour some in to get started. You'll know the difference, okay? So now let's put our salt in and our sugar. Always clean up after yourself. Make it easier for you. Because then you have less things to do later. Okay, so let me stir this up. So these should sit for a little longer, but it's okay. As long as it's bubbling like this, it's okay. So I'm going to pour this all in. And start stirring it. It's getting kind of like, it'll get kind of a doughy effect, but then you need to add more flour. And see how it kind of goes from a soupy to kind of a little bit more of a harder. And as you do this recipe, you will learn how much you need and how much you don't need. You get to be able to, I've been making this recipe for quite a few years, and I've gotten where I can pretty much eyeball the recipe. So the first time I ever made this, my mom came over, and my mom's full-blooded Italian, and I've learned a lot of my cooking stuff from her. So she came over and I had made homemade pizza, and she was going, "Where did you get this pizza from?" And I was like, "I made it." She's like, "No, you didn't." It took me about 15 to 20 minutes to convince her that I actually made the dough and made that pizza, because she didn't want to believe it. But anyway, so now that you get to this point, it gets kind of difficult to use the spoon. So you usually pull it all off the spoon. Now, a rule of when you're cooking one of the things you should always do is try to keep one hand dry. Sometimes it's not possible, but you should always try to keep at least one hand dry. That way you can do things like getting your flour, doing any kind of mixing you need, adding ingredients, so you're not stringing flour and everything all over the place. I'm making a little bit of a mess here. Yeah, I know. I'm cooking on a counter, kind of a makeshift counter, because I don't have a lot of room in my kitchen. But I'm hoping to change that soon. I'm looking to get a commercial kitchen here. Just got to figure out how to pay for it. So if you would be willing to subscribe to the channel and put any comments you have as far as things that you'd like to see, we'll be glad to do that. One of the things I'm thinking about doing is I'm thinking about adding a membership, and members can pick what ingredients we cook with. So I like doing, I don't know if anybody's ever watched the program Chopped. I like doing those kind of things. And so if you're a member and you sign up, and once you've been a member for 6 months plus, you can pick ingredients that we have to cook with. And if we cook with those ingredients we make a successful item, we will tag you in that video as being the person that suggested it, and then possibly maybe another benefit. Excuse me. Don't know yet. Still something we're working out. So if you'd be interested in that, please leave a comment. Okay, so now that I've got this all mixed, it's got to rise. So like I said, because it's kind of a cloudy day today, this is going to take a little longer to rise. So I'm going to put this in the sun to let it rise, and then we'll be back, probably 2 or 3 hours at least. And we'll see you then. Thanks. Bye. So the bread went into the oven. Sorry, forgot to record it, but I've made videos on bread before, so this is nothing new, so you can see that. So now let's get the soup made. All right, guys, so we're making potato soup. So here's the first ingredient, which is some butter that needs to be melted in the pan. So let's let that melt real quick. So one of the things I do is I use my handles on my pans as a place to hold your spoons. So that way you always know where your spoon is. It's right here. It's close to you. Try to keep them when you're doing things. Keep things close so that way you have what you need. All right. Next thing is three. Actually, it's supposed to be two, but one of them was really small. Things of garlic. All right, now we're adding the broth and the potatoes. Now that this is boiled, okay, so now that this is boiled and the potatoes are soft, we can add the No, I'm okay, thank you. All right, guys, so that's it right at the moment. We'll do the tasting here shortly. All right, guys, so now that we've made the soup, let's see how it tastes. Hot. That's really good. Good flavor. Potatoes probably could have cooked a couple of minutes longer, but it's very good. As I've always said, it's better to eat at home than it is to eat out.